Hi, I'm James Brookes, and welcome to From the Factory Floor, a conversational podcast about all things startup and tech, brought to you by the folks at tsf.tech.
And welcome back to From the Factory Floor. After, I think, a little bit of a break, I'm very kindly joined again by Ian. Hi, Ian.
Hi, James. Yes, we've had our summer sabbatical, haven't we? And we're back in fine voice.
Well, I think as much of summer as you can have in Manchester.
Indeed.
With the weather, but it wasn't. To be fair, it wasn't too bad. And this week, very pleased to be joined by Lesley, who is one of our founders at the moment. So, hi, Lesley.
Hello, both.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you. The sun is shining today, so everybody's mood is a little bit higher, isn't it?
Well,
great to see.
It's not that sunny in Manchester. The autumn has fully set in, I think.
Yeah, we're going to put the central heating on in the office next week, Lesley, in Manchester. So,
well, you're going to be starting to charge me because last week I did make them put it on for half an hour just to take the chill off. But as I pointed out, I am a grandma, so I probably do have a different type of body temperature.
So, I mean, I don't know if how many of these you managed to listen to, Lesley, but what we like to do is give you the opportunity to introduce yourself, a little bit about your background and what's your startup. So I'll let you take it away, Lesley.
Okay, well, I'm at a transition point in my career. I've been a coach supporting SMEs throughout the whole of Lancashire, teams of leaders who are wanting to achieve more. I've been doing that for 10 years now, and it's got to this stage where I realise that I want to reach more people because I understand the real benefits of coaching. And I've had this business idea in my head for at least 6 or 7 years, and that is to set up an online coaching platform which makes the service more accessible to people in general. So I am about to become the founder of MyOnlineCoach, and delighted to say that you're supporting me with that project, building the tech platform. So it's quite an exciting time at the moment.
So you mentioned it was a transition point that's kind of brought you to this. So what sort of coaching was it, and what's really changed for you that's made you want to go from doing the coaching to obviously business owner and a founder of a tech startup?
Okay. Well, when I established People Power Coaching, I'd hit a real change in my life. I'd suddenly became a single parent and I needed a career that was going to give me some flexibility. But I've also been very conscious of learning as I go along through life. So I established People Power Coaching so that I could help other people, which in turn gave me a lot of satisfaction as well. But it was only ever intended to be a 10-year mission to get my son through life safely to the point where he was settled, in his career. And I'm pleased to say that he's done that now. He's just set up his own business as an electrician and doing very well. So I knew this year that I was going to have to make a decision as to what was coming next. And with being 56 now, most people presumed it was going to be retirement. But absolutely not. I've still got a lot more to achieve. I have a lot of energy within me, and I do in the back of my head have this secret mission to live to 100 because that's what my grandma did. So I am going to have to carry on working for quite some time. But I really wanted to look at, with the what next, it was how I can help more people. That was the back driver, really. And I knew that I couldn't physically connect with more people myself on a one-to-one basis. So I have to engage with other coaches who can carry out some interventions. And my dream really for this is for it to become a global platform where we're creating quite a wide community of people that are helping others, which in turn means that people can better help themselves. So that's where the transition has come from, really, that 10-year line.
So it's quite interesting. I've known Lesley for a number of years, and I think some of the endearing qualities are Lesley's enthusiasm, her energy, her focus, her passion, and kind of her own drive. So I'll be honest, Lesley, you kind of fit the ideal profile for us in terms of founders that want to do something, but don't necessarily know or understand a great deal about tech, but I think for other people listening to this podcast who are thinking, do you know what, I'd like to do a startup but need some tech help. A couple of things that you said there are really the drivers of how you take an online business and produce how you take an offline business and make an online version. You wanted to help more people. So your purpose was clear. And one of the things we like at the Startup Factory is people who have clear purpose and passion. So it's not just, I want to make more money. It's how can I actually reach and scale and help more people. And obviously technology enables us to do that, removing lots of the constraints and traditional barriers. I think you're also a kind of classic, talented, business lady who kind of needs, how do I get to the next stage of my business? So this is an evolution for you. Mm-hmm. So while it is kind of a startup, it is actually an evolution. It's going to become basically a high-tech, high-touch business that's got personality and values that you have in what you deliver. But yeah, for anyone kind of listening to this, it really is that, listen to the founder journey, listen to the aspiration, and then think, how can tech enable my business? And that just brings a level of excitement to us because you've got the domain knowledge and the content and the idea, and we've got the tech chops to help you, realize your dream, really.
Absolutely. And I'm very keen to try and stay in touch with anything that develops from a tech perspective so that I stay relevant. I look at my mum now, she's 84 and she won't even use a mobile phone. And every time she opens it up, we have to retrain her on how to do it. And, I don't want to be that person, as wonderful as she is. I want to ensure that I'll be able to keep in touch with my son and, my granddaughter and any others that come along in any which way I can. And I think that's really motivated me to become a woman in tech. I think it's that in itself is a great phrase because it's something that's really embraced and welcomed at the moment. And anybody who I've spoken to about what I'm doing so far has been quite intrigued that I'm, without fear, stepping into that space when I'm at this stage and have no real experience of it. But like I say, for me, it's like an extra inner drive. The more I can learn, the better.
And a couple of things that you said there, I think, are important as well. That we're a friendly bunch here, so the fear of tech, I think people don't kind of let that be a barrier. Our model is very much collaborative business partners, where we help you shape the thinking, and we do the heavy lifting on the bits that you don't know and don't want to touch, quite frankly. I mean, James's role, particularly as head of projects, is very much about bridging the art of possible from what tech can do, but also making sure that the guys understand, what's in your head with the passion and the purpose and the vision. So, I think it's all about timing and people, really, as always.
I mean, I think that's the thing with...
Sorry, James, go on.
I was going to say something, especially with the timing. Like, I think as things, obviously, as the world has changed, people are now adopting tech for things that they never thought they were going to. So, whereas I suppose, in your previous coaching, it's been very face-to-face and very hands-on, slowly things are becoming more remote, and remote is becoming the way that things are accepted. So almost tech is helping to bridge that gap. And obviously being able to take that leap and go, tech is what's going to put me ahead of everyone else and deliver a service to people who want help professionally to, develop their careers.
Yeah.
Having that and being at the forefront of that is always going to be a great place to be.
Yeah. And, a lot of companies, they still do want, face-to-face interaction, and that won't ever disappear. I still feel that's going to be relevant for some organisations. But what I found is that during COVID, a lot more individuals have been reaching out to me. So in the past, I've dealt with companies and the time has been booked with them. But I've had so many people just reach out of their own accord and want some coaching time. And I've been able to do that with them out of their normal working hours because the company probably don't know they're engaging with me. And, so I've been able to do evenings and weekends and fit them in and keep them on track as well. And for the most part, those reasons have just been about how they continue to improve at work. Some of them have been about wanting to change career and not felt comfortable talking about that within the current organisations. And for others, they've just been struggling and need a little bit of help and need a listening ear and somebody to help them make sense of everything. And one thing I've really come to learn throughout COVID is that, when people reach out for support at the moment, we're very quick to label it as being a mental health issue, stress, it's anxiety. But actually for all the people that I've been connected with, it's just that they can't make sense of a particular topic and they just need to sort that out for themselves, and they need to plan and create a new direction or carve a path for what they're going to do. And therefore, they've always been very positive interactions, and they've always been very future forward sort of thinking. And that's what I want the platform to be. I really want it to be about, positive conversations, high quality sort of future focused coaching, really critical pinpoints of training that will help people stay on track. So that everyone can just achieve their own level of workplace happiness and success. That's my core drive, is to see people achieving that and talking about it. And this isn't about people suddenly being materialistic or wanting to be the ultimate high flyer. These are just everyday normal people going about their own lives, having positive aspirations, goals for their family and their future, and just putting all that into practice, really. And if this platform can help so many more people do that, then I'm hoping I'm having influence on the nation's mood. That would be lovely, wouldn't it? I don't think you'll let me put that in my actual goals, Ian, but that's almost the sense that I want to give, that if needs to be a bit of an uplift, then we're the place to come.
Yeah, I think I like the words, and I know you choose your words carefully because they are important. They have to have meaning, and I think that intent is a wonderful vision, and something we bought into when we started talking around how we can help you. There's a lot of talk around tech for good and tech with purpose, and we certainly buy into that in terms of helping businesses provide a service of good for society without getting too altruistic. But I think what the tech on this can do is removes the barrier of geography, which previously coaching was restricted by. We've all lived on Zoom or Hangouts, less so Teams. I'm not a fan of Teams. And I think, enabling someone who lives in the north of England to connect with a coach in the southwest of England is great, because that kind of enhances and brings positivity and moves them forward. So tech kind of really enables that. And as you said, the quality is the key thing here. The quality of the coaches, the quality of the content, and therefore what we have to deliver is the quality of the experience through the technology, to say, do you know what, MyOnlineCoach, great people, great tech. And that's, again, another thing I'd to suggest some people think about who are thinking about a startup. It's not I want to be in tech. It's how can tech create and scale and make my business better and give me that greater reach. So I think that ambition, and that's all about timing, so that then now, everything that we've been through, Zoom and those platforms have been brilliant to give us that semblance of connectivity on some form of human level when we've been apart. Do you want to just tell me, perhaps give me a couple of examples, Lesley, on the benefits of coaching that you've delivered? So, just identifying what we call the use cases and how we actually work with that.
Yeah. Okay, so there's usually sort of like 4 stages at which people connect with us, and that varies from I'm on a mission, I have a plan, I need some goals, and I need somebody behind me who's going to, hold me accountable and make me achieve those, all the way down to the person who actually just doesn't feel right about the current situation that they're in, doesn't really know why, but would like to talk to somebody about it so they can start to process those thoughts and put the finger on what it is they need to work on. So, throughout that stage, I work with people who maybe want to get promoted to director level by a certain time. I work with people who may just want to build their confidence so that they can speak up a little bit more at work. It might be that somebody's just been newly promoted and haven't got a clue how to be a manager or a leader, and they feel like they're winging it. then down to the people who aren't quite sure if the job they're in is the right job for them. And for others who've already decided to make a change and start a new career and actually want some help with the job search. So there's lots of different touch points, really. And that coaching is a process, despite what people think. It's not just a nice, pink, fluffy conversation. There is process behind it, and purpose and reason and actions. And, no matter what stage people are at or what type of help they want, really what we're promoting is the opportunity to share in a safe space, just talk about what's happening, to listen to themselves and to the coach as to what could be different, to actually allow some of the time to reflect on what it is that needs to be different, or some of the actions they need to take, and then to actually learn for themselves, how they've got themselves into that situation or how they get themselves out of it and what the key actions are that they need to take. So the benefits can be the monumental, to be fair. I decided to become a coach because I had that experience for myself whilst I went on a leadership program. And for me, I know people don't like using the word transformational, but it really was. It took my thinking from one-dimensional to almost four-dimensional, where I started to really look at life from a very different perspective. And that's what made me curious about coaching and how I could pass that gift on to other people. So, no matter what stage you're at in, the benefits are it can help create the change you so desire, even if you don't know what it is at this point.
Yeah.
So, it makes a huge difference for people, not only at work, but also at home too. Because sometimes some of the things we teach, once you've learnt these new approaches, you can't unlearn them. So you can't do it at work and then go home and be different. So you find that conversations improve in every area of your life, if that's the point that you want to tackle.
Yeah, I've seen that. I mean, I firsthand, I've seen the anecdotal feedback of the impact that you've made. James, I'll let Lesley have a glass of water and kind of breathe. Do you want to just kind of speak to the listeners for a minute or so about the process? So how we go about capturing that energy and that enthusiasm and that vision of a founder like Lesley? How we go about creating this tech thing?
So I'd say it's a lengthy process, but that's not necessarily true. Often it's quite an intense process, as some people come to us like Lesley who've got a very big, grand idea in terms of what MyOnlineCoach could be. And I think, as Lesley's quite eloquently said, there's so much scope in coaching around what can be done that you can be left with almost too much blue sky thinking. So a lot of what we do here, especially before we actually begin a project, we've ascertained that we can really get on with the founders, that tech can handle what the vision's going to be. Is almost taking that, almost looking at a slice of that blue sky thinking, bringing it back into I think it's the commonly used phrase of what's the MVP, and looking at what's the minimum thing that could be built, making sure that it's viable both, and I think this is something that's sometimes missed, viable both in terms of the technology that's needed in terms of reducing the risk, but also in terms of making sure it's viable as a business, because it still has to fulfill the use case. It has to be a good experience for users, and there's such thing as a minimum viable experience as well, in terms of what people need, how people are going to interact with the platform, and ensuring that the platform is giving value to people. Because at the end of the day, if someone comes to MyOnlineCoach and their experience isn't useful then they're not going to get the service, not going to get the benefit. And as Lesley said, you're not going to put a smile on the faces of the world. So you always need to make sure that the sessions that we run are all focused on making sure that all the user journeys, the users we're focusing on, is very much laser focused onto here's what we can deliver in a way that means we can test any hypotheses, ensure that the business is going to be viable, and that it can actually stand on its own 2 feet without too much. And then the tech can then expand and grow whether it's putting in new features, whether it's taking things out, whether it's completely reskinning a project. Tech gives us the ability to do that, and all we want to do is get to a stage before the project everyone's got a shared understanding where the risk is managed between both the founders and with ourselves.
That's good. Thanks for that. And Lesley, I know it's early days. I think we're into week 2. Your expectations, your experience of kind of stepping into seeing this thing emerge?
Well, it's highly exciting, and I'm not sure that I've actually slept in the past week. Not through stress, but can't wait to see what emerges from this. I think what one of the best benefits for me has been the fact that I feel like I'm part of your team. You've really embraced me into the office. We sit and have lunch together. Everybody looks pleased to see me in the morning. Not sure they are by the end of the day. Might have driven them mad. But I've worked on my own for 10 years. And I've been a single parent for 10 years with a son who doesn't speak to me much. So for me, one of the biggest benefits is the fact that I've suddenly got people around me who share my vision, and they're actually going to do something and make it happen. In the past, when I've reached out, I've struggled to find anyone who actually believed in this as much as I did. So I think that's been probably the greatest benefit at this stage. And it's given me a whole new level of confidence. I suddenly feel like I've got no fear because you guys are behind me. And I know you'll keep me on track, and I'm really trying hard not to come in with 20 new ideas every time. I'll save those for next year, maybe. But I think, that the way that you interact with me is getting the best out of me as well. And I'm loving performing at that level. Before I operated on my own, I used to work, in corporate world. So I was used to being part of a big team, and I didn't realize how much I'd missed that connection with people who are operating on the same line as you.
Yeah, that's good feedback. And I think it is important for people that are listening to this, that are thinking, I've got an idea, but I'm on my own. One of the things about us is we are very collegiate and inclusive, and we become part of your extended team and form that team. One of the euphemisms around startups is just start, make a start, but that's hard on your own. So, we're in the Manchester Technology Centre on Oxford Road. Just come in for a brew, and anyone can sit you down and have a chat and kind of help you unpack your idea. And then once we start, you can't get rid of us. We are part of your team. Hopefully you come to our Christmas party, if we have one, if we're allowed to have one this year. But I think the social aspect of and the people aspect of a startup is really, really important. As James said at the outset, our process is about working with people that we respect, that we trust, that we like, and that there's some connection with the purpose. But at the basic, human connectivity is about getting on with each other and having a bit of fun. Having lunch is important to us. I think if anyone listening, is thinking about having a go, but they're on their own, then, don't be on your own. Come and join us. So just kind of throwing this is the Uber for coaching. Throwing that forward, Lesley, aspirations, where do you see this business in 18 months, 36 months?
Do you know what? Wherever I go, I want to hear people saying, do you know what? I spoke to my online coach last night and this is what they said. That's really what I want to be hearing. Now, I don't want to put any numbers on that, but, the first time I hear it, I'm going to be ringing the bell. But like I say, I'd really like that to be wherever I go. I'm really hoping that people understand the real benefit and impact that this can have and join in, even if it's, on social media and you're just joining in the conversation. The more people tell us what they're up against and what they're facing, the sooner we can provide the interventions that will help them.
Like I say, I think the benefits of people now, I think especially after people being isolated for so long, furlough, people had a lot of time to think about what they want to do with their careers, their lives. So almost the need for coaching has just grown exponentially with where things are at the moment, how the job market's changing. And almost like yourself, people want to jump into tech because they can see it's the way forward. And
when I set up as a coach, it's so difficult finding people as clients, so this isn't just a benefit to the people being coached. I'm also supporting a lot of coaches out there who have the capacity, and desire to support, but just don't necessarily have the marketing or the platform or the team behind them to attract the people. So there's a double edge to this. I'm really hoping that I can provide a lot of coaches out there with income that they probably wouldn't normally be able to access or tap into, which will, support their dreams and goals too.
No, it works for everyone. And like I say, if you improve coaches and how they're going to develop their businesses, how you're improving other people in terms of providing with coaching. Like you say, if everyone had that sort of drive, that ambition, then the world will be a much better place.
Absolutely. One day.
So if anyone does want any coaching, Lesley, how would they get in touch with you? Or if they want to discuss MyOnlineCoach or sign up?
Okay, so the actual platform isn't live yet, as you know, so we're working quickly on that. There is, if you go onto the website, which is MyOnlineCoach.io, there is a landing page for people to register their interest. And I will personally be looking at those and connecting with anybody who needs help instantly. So that's the first step. And then once the program, once the platform launches, then people will be able to access that for themselves. But please feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn. We're going to be quite active on there as well. We have our own page at the moment, or myself directly, just Lesley Calland on LinkedIn. And I always want to go, there's only one Lesley Calland. Whenever you search, I'm dreading the day that another one appears. But, if you Google me, you usually find me. And I'm the lady with the big ginger hair, so I'm usually not mistaken.
Ian, is there any final thoughts or anything you want to discuss?
We always try and end up with a bit of a takeaway, don't we? So I think Lesley is great to work with and really looking forward to building this. But I think the takeaway is anybody can have a dream and can have a startup dream, and don't let tech or your lack of apparent awareness and capability on tech hold you back, because that's what we do. We fill that gap. But you have to have the passion, the energy, the vision that Lesley has to come and work with us. Lesley sets the standard. That's the sort of people we want to work with.
Sorry, everybody.
Because that creates a great experience while we're in the build and developing it together. Obviously our model is we are business partners, we're shareholders. We do have lunch together. So I think it is being joined and emotionally. But anyone can do this. Get in touch.
Yeah, and do you know what, Ian? Maybe if somebody's just lacking that edge of confidence, they perhaps have to tap in for a coaching session.
Brilliant.
Well, thank you very much, Ian. Thank you very much, Lesley.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I shall catch you both in the office soon.
Yeah, cheers.
Thank you both.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
I think that just about wraps things up here. If you have any thoughts or questions on anything we've said today, get in touch, whether that be through our Twitter @RealTSF or email at hello@startupfactory.tech, or feel free to drop in for a coffee and a chat. As ever, thanks for listening.